So here is your chance to study in Australia. The government of Australia has just announced a scholarship for international students, and I'm here to take you through. This is a scholarship for master's applicants, and there is a list of countries that can be allowed to apply. So here is where you click to apply. But before we come there, I just wanted us to have a look about what this scholarship offers. So if you want to learn more, just come here. This is where you're going to find all the necessary information about this funding. I strongly recommend you spend your time learning first. So the first thing, when you click here, it is going to bring you to this page, and I want us to look at the Australia Awards Scholarship specifically. So these are scholarship for international students to study in Australia, take a master's at select institutions. So when we say select institutions, these are the institutions that we are talking about. So we have all these universities in Australia. You can go through the list one after the other and find an institution that satisfies you. So there's specific focus areas per country, and we are going to look into that. But which countries can apply? So in the 2027 admission, so that is going to be January 2027. This is the list of countries. So we have countries in Asia, we have countries in the Pacific, Africa, and also, so if you are in Asia, for instance, you just come here and look for your country. I recently hosted a scholar from Nepal. So on the podcast, you may want to check it out because that's actually what we are going to refer with when we are discussing various aspects. So if you're coming from maybe Tonga or Africa, so in Africa, in short, they are focusing on different countries in Africa, and these are the countries here. So if you belong in either of these countries, then it means you are eligible for this scholarship. But then, what information do we have? So the first thing, before you even think about applying, the first thing you need to know is the dates, timelines, typically. So the scholarship opened on 1st of February, which is technically today, as you can see down here. So 1st of February, and it's going to close on 30th April. This is the same. It holds across all the countries. So there's no point repeating like for each country separately. But then once you know your dates, the exact dates when you're supposed to apply, you need to take your time preparing your documents and your applications. So the scholarships are going to focus on what we call priority areas for specific countries. And each country has a set profile that is provided. So one, you're going to have the priority, and I'm going to show you an example, and also local eligibility criteria. Document certification, of course, that's going to be discussed in a short while, but you need to meet first the local eligibility criteria. That is the first thing within your country or your region, whichever comes first. Then after you've done that, now you need to have like a focus on the priority fields of study. Now, if we look into these countries, let's look at an example of Africa. So if you click here, it's going to give you the country profiles. And I say this because you need to spend your time preparing more than actually making the application, because the main work is in the preparation. So here is for Africa. And as you can see, this is the list of countries that can apply, from Algeria all through to Zimbabwe. The priority fields in Africa, this is for African applicants only, is going to be agriculture and food security, climate change, foreign policy and international security, gender, disability and social inclusion, mining and energy. So when you are choosing programs, you should choose programs that are more aligned to these priority areas. In as much as you've not been told which program you should do, at least you should be able to demonstrate alignment of this. I could find a question like, what if I want to do something like machine learning? So that could definitely fall somewhere like I'm modeling climate change. Machine learning, but you're modeling climate change. Machine learning, but you are modeling food security. Machine learning, but you are using it for management of assets. So if you are talking about something like economics, you can talk about agriculture and food. That is agricultural economics. And then you can talk about international development, something like, or development studies. So technically you need to know how to frame how your chosen program fits into your priority field, right? Now, as you can see, this is for a master's qualification in Australia. So in Australian tertiary institutions, and as I mentioned earlier, those institutions, we just checked them here. We have all these universities in Australia. So 1, 2, 3, all through to the end. So you're going to choose which institution you want to go. Just pick a name like this, the University of Newcastle. This is in Australia. So you can be like University of Newcastle, Australia, because there's actually a University of Newcastle in the UK. Or Victoria University, Australia. After you've chosen which university you want to go to, then you can be able now to choose the program, and the program should be able to align to these priority areas. It has to be a master's program. This is probably one of the most funded scholarships. And as you will hear from the scholar who we hosted on the podcast, you realize like these guys are given almost every single thing you can ever think of. Just look at this list. Your air ticket is fully taken care of. You're going to be given an establishment allowance. In the UK, when you're applying to something like Chevening, it's going to be called an arrival allowance. Or Commonwealth, they're going to call it a warm cloth allowance. So when you arrive in Australia, you're going to be given an allowance. Your tuition fee will be covered, so don't even think about worrying about how your fees will be paid. So that is fully covered. And then you're going to be given stipend. So that is what they're calling here contribution to living expenses. You're going to be given an introductory program, of course. And then, so this is simply insurance. And you may want to think carefully about this because this is going to cover your health expenses and such stuff in Australia, which can be quite expensive. Any supplementary academic support in case you want to do something like a research program and you may need some research grant, you want to attend a conference, you're going to be given that. And then there's also fieldwork allowance for those people who are going to do masters with a fieldwork component. Now, eligibility criteria is different by region. And I want to use these to show you how different that is. So for example, if we open, so in Bangladesh, I come here and download this document here. So this is how the document looks for applicants in Bangladesh. These are the priority areas and the field of study. But when you look at what we have in a place like Africa, that is just written priority areas, but you are going to choose what program you want to take. You get it? So that is where the main first difference lies. The second one, so you can see all this. In case you're actually finding it difficult to map these priority areas, and you're from one region that it has not been specified, you could use other countries' priority areas. Then you can check how like the kind of programs that have been put into that cluster. So if you are struggling to find it, then after that, so this, for example, this is for Bangladesh, and they have masters by coursework and masters by research. And as of course, those benefits are the same, but this is the country specific conditions. So for somebody who is Bangladeshi, they understand what is written here. For example, Group A, Group B, Group C, Group D, citizenship, English language proficiency, you see they're being asked to have like preference will be given to candidates who are applying for courses that build on their previous study and full-time relevant and consistent work experience for of 5 years. But when now you come to Africa, be a minimum of 25 years of age 1st February 2027. At minimum, have 5 years of postgraduate work experience working in a field relative to the field of study, right? You must be employed at the time of applying for this scholarship and be from these countries. So you must be older than 25. You must have worked for 5 years. Be employed by the time you are applying for the scholarship and you be coming from these countries. You should not be already be holding or undertaking a master's degree, right? But funny enough, the scholar we hosted on the podcast actually has a master's degree. So in their country, most likely that was not a requirement. For example, as you can see here, there is no mention of a master's program. So this is Bangladeshi. If we were to look at another country, let's say Thailand, so the requirements for Thailand are going to be a little different. So you can see, after you've checked all this information, you can see that the requirements, country-specific requirements, are different. Now, you should have an undergraduate degree, not have previous received a long-term Australia award, and you should meet this language proficiency minimums. So this is for African candidates only. And this one is going for Bangladesh candidates only. And this one is going to be for Thailand candidates only. So as each country has its own guidelines, then these are your application. As we mentioned, these are just standard for all the applications, and all the applications should be submitted via a system called Oasis. So just click here. Don't trouble yourself with just click here and it's going to take you to how you're going to apply Australia Awards, and then you're going to get all the necessary details. But then now we have these documents that are required of you as an applicant. First, you should have a passport or a proof of citizenship. So that is going to be a primary requirement to show that you're from Africa. You should have graduated with a bachelor's and have your degree. You should have your transcript. You should provide your CV, curriculum vitae. And on the Management Diary on LinkedIn, we have a couple of CVs that you can use, like CV samples. You should have an academic referee report, and I'm going to show you what that referee report looks like. And you should have the IELTS, TOEFL, or Pearson test certificate. So if your first language is English, or your education was taken in English, then you can request for a language proficiency letter from your institution to show that you actually. One thing you need to notice is that these documents need to be certified. You can certify this document using a notary. A notary is somebody who is so there are people called notaries in your country. Just ask anybody in the legal profession. They can help you find a notary. The selection process, this is how it looks. When you click at how to apply, and so this is going to provide you with the links, you're going to find this part here called supporting documentation. This is where you can find the referee report template to send to your referee. And they're going to fill in. This is what they're going to provide. So I think that is the much you need to know about the Australia Award Scholarship. In case you want to understand how to write the essay, we hosted a scholar on the podcast, and he actually went ahead to explain to us how he did the entire application, how he did his interviews, and the entire process that he went through. So you may want to check out that podcast. We have put the link in the description of this video. Coming up next, we are going to discuss a scholarship in the UK. So come back and check it again next week. Bye bye.